Sasha,
Yes.
look, we got in the middle of us.
Well, who is it?
We got the business bully.
Oh, man.
David Anderson. What's up, man?
Hey,
Thank you so much
Dave.
for having me. What's up?
Why do they call you the business bully?
We live in a world where kids get participation trophies just for showing up.
Okay.
We live in a world where everyone is living for likes and for
Yes.
shares and living for the moment and trying to floss on the gram and buying $3,000 suits but don't have $3,000 in savings.
Oh.
And so what winds up happening is people say they have businesses and they
Right.
really don't. They have hobbies that are very, very expensive and not turning over a profit. And so one day I was on Facebook watching a couple of people, just sit around and talk about nonsense that they call business. And I said, first of all, this is why you're hemorrhaging money. You need to do this. You don't have a marketing plan. You don't have an email list. You're not reaching out to people. You're not giving people any type of value. That's why you're struggling. And someone came along with a cape and said, well, Dave Anderson, you're the business bully. I said, I'm calling my trademark attorney.
Okay.
And so I did.
Oh, give me some
about
skin
that,
on
man?
that boy.
Yes, indeed. So
Trademark
you
attorney.
offer just free game to people all the time. In fact, you've stood toe-to-toe with Gary Vaynerchuk.
absolutely. Gary's my man. You
Yeah.
know, point the biggest skeptic out. I'll make him a believer.
Right.
The thing of it was, a lot of times as black people, we do this thing, and even in hip hop, I'm the black Donald Trump. I'm the black Gambino.
No, you're
And
not.
so I don't believe in black derivatives. I'm Dave Anderson.
Okay.
I'm not the black Gary V. And so that whole thing took fire. He invited me to his office, and then we had some really good conversation.
This is what I hear from young people a lot of times. I want a business. I want to be rich.
Right.
And then when you ask them for the game plan, they have no plan. So what is it that you say to them?
I say to them, first and foremost, find out if you really want to make an impact and find out what it is about you that's so different that you can affect change overall. The money will follow your passion. And the money will follow what you spend time on. Can anybody be an all-star baseball player? Absolutely. The thing of it is, you have to start early, you have to put in the work, and you have to dedicate yourself. But in a microwave society, hard work, preparation, and dedication are things that no one wants to do.
Right.
So the first thing I would say is, how serious are you about this? If you really want to be rich, right now I'm going to make you $100,000 without changing anything about what you're currently doing except your lifestyle. First things first, get rid of your cable. Second thing,
They're not going to do that.
no, get rid of that Verizon contract.
Okay.
You should, if you're not grossing over $25,000 in revenue per month, you should not have a $1,500 phone like this one.
Speak it.
Point blank and period.
So you're grossing how much a month? Let me-
You see what kind of phone he got?
Wait, I was looking at this phone. He has the 3 cameras. The
Yeah.
3 cameras.
Yes,
This is
yeah.
brand new.
But he's speaking the truth
Look,
that if you
hey.
don't have the income, why are you sporting that type of phone?
I only have 2 lenses.
Wait a minute, how
okay?
many do I have? I have one.
Yeah, you have 2.
Oh, I have 2. Okay.
Yeah, we're in a whole different bracket than this man right now.
I don't know
Stop.
your bracket. What is your bracket?
Stop it.
I will say this, and the only thing I will
What's
say
wrong
about
with
that,
asking that?
so it's an okay
Oh.
question.
Okay,
I don't
okay.
mind that.
Okay.
I'm in the 1%,
Okay.
and that's what I'll say.
All right.
Like it's like asking someone how many sexual partners they had. Just know that I'm not a virgin.
All right.
And the other part of it is, like 10 years ago, I was homeless, and when the funny thing is, it's very interesting the energy that happens when people find out that you've actually made something of yourself.
Right.
Mike Jones was a prophet. They should have put him in the Bible. Back then, they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all own me. And the truth of the matter is that energy that people have is just because they want things. And the second you lose things, they
They're
no longer
gone.
want you.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I keep away from the money part of the conversation specifically because it's a myth. You only need $441,000 to be in the 1%.
All right, so we're talking to Dave Anderson right now. He is the business bully, showing you guys how to make real money.
He's actually a sweetie.
He's a beast. Can you look at people and tell when they have on the fine clothes, drive the nice cars, and live in the big homes that they really ain't got no money?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What are the signs?
Well, every multimillionaire I know dresses like me or worse. Period. That's the
Okay.
only way I can put it to you. I'll give you an example. Mark Zuckerberg,
Right.
never seen him in a 3-piece suit.
Right.
Gary Vaynerchuk, $500 million agency, never seen him in a suit. No Gucci belts to be found.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wear earrings because it's a cultural thing, but my earrings are very, very small. Like these are like $500. This isn't.
Are your glasses replicas of something or the actual
no,
thing?
these are the actual. They're replicas. They're not Robert Downey's, but these are Tony Stark's. These are
smart.
But it's
man.
it's a choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice of how you're spending your money.
Right.
You wear those diamond earrings,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
you chose to spend $500. But if you wanted to spend more money, that's up to you. You just
Absolutely.
choose not to.
But not a smart thing to do if you don't have the money.
But
to
he
spend.
said, it's certain people that you look at and you
Right.
could tell if they have money or not.
Right.
It's still a choice of how I spend my money.
Absolutely. Here's the thing, right? You're Sasha the Diva.
Mm-hmm.
It goes with the brand. And you're brilliant enough to be able to have two closets. One where you have your regular everyday Sasha clothes and one where you have your diva stuff, because that is your write-off. And so as a business owner, which you are,
I am.
you should be able to write those things off.
I do.
The company paid for these earrings. The company paid for that phone. The company
That's right.
paid for these shoes. The company paid for those glasses.
Company pay for everything.
Everything. I am a poor man.
But you're really not. But okay, I
Yes.
get you.
So when the economy gets kind of shaky, what are some of the things you tell your clients?
First of all, you have to be smart before the economy gets shaky.
Okay.
And I will say this to you. When I was homeless and I lived in Dallas in my truck, I had a friend of mine who worked in sales, and he said, I need you to come with me because I'm going to show you something. Now, he didn't know I was homeless, but he knew I was down on my luck. And he gave me an opportunity to meet with one of the largest Waffle House guys. And the guy says to me, he says, kid, there's no recession in the Waffle House. If you have something that people want, scattered, smothered, covered, chunked, capped, they're going to come every single day. You got something in you that's recession-proof. You have to build a recession-proof skill and then double down on it. The main reason most people don't make money is because they've been taught really bad information about what money actually is. The Bible does not say money is the root of all evil. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. So I teach people very simply to make sure that you're doing things for the right reasons and that you're doubling down on your skills. Also, I tell people, don't listen to their mama. Don't listen to anyone who has not done what you're doing until such time
That's very true.
as you have made. Like, somebody was trying to argue with me. I did an interview at another place earlier, and the person was like, well, what about this? And I don't understand that. And how can you say that? And I said, how many $1 million businesses have you built?
None. They couldn't.
You know, and that's
Yeah.
not to be funny, but it's
Right.
like you're not qualified to have that conversation.
They always say that you should benchmark what it is that you're trying to get into and speak to those people and like you're saying, surround yourself with business people that are making the money, but you do have to ask the questions because everyone's not making the money. Now, when you start making the money, how much are you telling people to save and invest?
And where to put that money?
All right. So, truth be told, 85% of every dime I make goes right back into my business.
That's big.
85%. Because it's not about me. The craziest thing that happened to me was I had children that I had to be responsible for 24/7. So I have one who's at Howard University who will not come out with any student debt. I was sitting on $65,000 of student debt. My wife was sitting on $65,000 of student debt. My daughter doesn't know what student debt is.
Nice.
So that's step one. Step two, you have to go and look at what is missing and what you want to do. Right now, if you go on the internet, if you scroll up Instagram, I guarantee you in 10 posts, you'll find somebody who is selling shea butter.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But is your shea butter artisan? What kind of package did you put it in? How are you appealing to people? Are you talking to them? Does your child have eczema, and is that why you switched from petroleum-based moisturizers to shea butters? What is your unique selling proposition? What are you doing in order to make people want you? Did you get a nice voiceover? Did you pay Rick Party? I don't know how many thousands Rick Party voiceovers are now. Did you get Sasha the Diva to hold your product up and take a picture and pay her for her influence on her Instagram account?
Right.
Like, are you being smart with how you set yourself up? And if you're not, you need to reevaluate yourself. But the most important thing I ever learned was to get mentorship. Get someone who can teach you. And I don't mean a mentor like, I just want to find somebody to beg and sit up under and get coffee. I mean, I want to pay someone who has the answers. Not that there are shortcuts, but there is hard work no matter what you do. But if you have someone who can show you the fastest way to apply that hard work to the right things, you're going to make money faster and you'll cut down on that time.
But
So-
you need to
yeah.
listen too.
Absolutely. We're talking to Dave Anderson. He's the business bully. motivational speaker, and he's showing you how to get your chips up, okay? So I remember when you were a young personality.
Oh God, here we go.
And you were talking about how all the old personalities are in the game. Now, here you are, an older man. Now, let me ask you something. What was that turning point for you? Because not everyone has the chops or will be successful in this business. What was that turning point for you where you said, you know what, I'm going to exceed what I could have possibly made in the business?
I had a man sit down with me. He was sales manager, and I'll never forget that moment. He actually worked at this company.
Okay.
And he says to me, he says, Mr. Anderson, he never called me by my radio name. He always called me Mr. Anderson. He said, Mr. Anderson, do you know how much money you make? And I said, yeah, I think I'm doing about $35,000 a year, and then I make, around $20,000 in appearances. So $55,000. He said, no. Do you understand how much money you make the company? And I said, no.
Ooh.
And he pulled up a sheet. And on that sheet, he gave me some math. He said, look, this is these are the commercial stop sets, the commercial breaks. How many are there? I said, there's 2 per hour. How many breaks are there? That's about 5 minutes. So anywhere between 560s and so on and so forth. And he says, okay, do you know how much the morning shows commercials go for?
Speak it, break it down.
And I said, I don't know. He said, well, they go for about $100 a spot. He said, do you know how much your show goes for? I said, 25 maybe. He said, $500 a spot. He said, we make your salary in about a day and a half.
Thank you.
Babe.
Love
that
people
dude.
ask us why we do syndicated radio. Can I get some?
Can I get some? No, he gonna give me some skin.
You gotta
though.
give all that. No.
Because let me tell you
revenue
something.
share.
When
Yes.
I started doing endorsements, and I learned early about that, I was looking at how much my show was making,
Okay.
and that's when I started to negotiate
Yeah.
what my talent fees were going to be.
Absolutely.
Because I know what I was making.
That's right.
The company.
Absolutely. And that's what it is. A lot of times people keep the lights on.
Yeah.
I remember another conversation I had with the late Trey Black, and I called him.
Buddy.
And I said to him, I said, Trey, like, I get it. You did the Fat Beach thing, put your back into it, all that. Bro, is it true that you went in there and you asked for $1 million? He said, yeah, I should ask for more. I said, Trey, are you crazy?
Yeah.
He said, one day you're going to catch it. He was like, I'm sitting up here #1 in L.A.,
Yeah.
and I'm not the one who's making the money when the people who are in 14th place in the same building are making money that I'm paying them?
Yep.
He was like, no, I'm going to ask my worth. And so if that
And he
makes me a
wasn't scared
troublemaker,
to ask.
I remember that same story. He told me that story. Trey died some years ago. And when he told me that story and why he asked for the money made so much sense.
Why are we so afraid to ask for what we are worth?
Because people don't believe in their talent.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you've been conditioned, think about what happens, right? You're told to speak when you're spoken to.
Right.
You're told to sit in a child's place. You're told to ask for a pass to walk down a hallway to relieve yourself of a bodily function that God put in you in the first place. You're being conditioned to lower yourself. But the Bible says, do not hide your light under a bushel. Make it plain so that it's glorifying the Lord. That's where this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, comes from. But we're not taught that, because once you become aware of yourself and once you become aware of your power, then what winds up happening is, oh my God, we've got a monster. Now we have to pay that monster.
Wow.
Howard Stern gets a movie, a book deal, and everything else because he holds his station hostage by asking his value. Trey Black gets fired unceremoniously for that. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it's a racial issue as much as it is an understanding issue and a power issue. A lot of people in radio who look like us don't necessarily have agents.
Yeah.
In some places, you're not allowed to get agents, and that goes for any field.
Yeah.
A lot of people are making things happen. If you're getting $50 an hour at your jobs, congratulations. Guess how much the guy who hired you is getting?
And you'll never know.
And you'll never know, but you won't ask the question either.
Yeah.
And we got to do that because 60% of all Americans will go their entire career without ever asking for a raise. That's a crime.
Wow. You've got a book called Pitch, Close, Upsell, Repeat.
Yes.
And it's a #1 bestseller on Amazon. Tell us about that book.
Yeah, I wrote that book because people kept asking me how I was able to close deals and how I was able to do sales. And they tried to read The Art of the Deal in other books, and it wasn't resonating. So I wrote a 74-page manual where I break down what sales actually is. It is giving people an opportunity to get to know you and solve their problem through a product or service. And so I did what I needed to do in order to get people to read that book. And I made it simple. I didn't give you a 300-page manual. I made it 74 pages, so you're on the toilet every morning for 2 days. and you're reading. Oh, let's not act like you don't do your best reading
That's
on the
right.
toilet. Right?
Well, you're on your cell phone, okay?
Okay.
All right.
I got it on Kindle and Audible.
Okay.
Right.
Open the phone and
yes,
read.
Indeed. And so when the book first dropped, we outsold Donald Trump's The Art of the Deal. We outsold Grant Cardone. I outsold one of Gary Vee's books, but not the other 4.
Wow.
So, and no one will ever give you those stats.
Right.
Funny how that
But
works.
you don't need it, do you?
No.
He is right there with him toe to toe.
Yeah.
Now, we know black girls rock, but tell us about black boys win.
Well, when you look at what happens in America, statistically speaking, the largest export is black male energy.
Right.
Meaning that when black people get put in the system, young black males are also incarcerated at a much higher rate. And a lot of times, the things that black men would resonate with, auto shop, machine shop, skills, having open classrooms, being exposed to technology, those things are not available in most quote-unquote urban communities. And so what I wanted to do was give a supplementary educational process and a path to entrepreneurship to kids who look like me, because I didn't have that coming up, and I have 96% of my clients are black women. 80% of them are
Really?
single moms. Absolutely.
Okay.
Black women don't play around. Black women
No,
mean
they don't.
business. And so the one thing that I kept hearing was, Dave, my son needs this. Can you talk to my son? And what I realized is there's a lot of people out here who want to help young black boys but don't know how to reach them. And there are parents who want to help young black boys, their children, but they don't know where to go. And so I wanted to bridge that gap and create an educational platform and create experiences. So I have friends who are black men who draw at Marvel Comics. So I've got kids who want to draw, so they go up to Marvel and they have an experience. I've got friends who are doctors who own their own practices in Brooklyn and Orlando and places like that. So I send kids who want to be doctors to shadow them for a day. And then they get mentorship and we get online and we speak with each other. And I feel like it's important because as a father of 2 black girls, of course I love Black Girls Rock. Shout out to Beverly Bond. But I want to make sure that we don't let black boys fall through the cracks, because these boys are eventually going to become men and become the men that some women think aren't, what.
How do you deal with entitled children?
I break entitlement where I see it.
Okay.
It's terrorism.
Okay.
Like, if I'm responsible for your very life, if I'm responsible for the food you eat, the clothes you wear, the air you breathe, you can't be entitled to anything.
But they're in that space. I mean, you see some of the young people, they're in that space now. How do you get them out of that place? You got to work your ass off to make it happen.
Here's what I do personally, not just outside of everybody else, and I can't speak for anybody but myself. I go to career days dressed just like this, and I bring a wad of gum, and I chew it. And I will literally get up in the middle of the speech and say, excuse me, I'll be right back, I'm going to the bathroom. Then I'll get right back on stage. I said I went to the bathroom without a pass, I came in here with my hat on, I'm chewing gum, and no one can tell me anything because I make more than all of your teachers combined.
And they're sitting there, and they love that, don't they?
Yeah, because I'm the son of an award-winning teacher. You can't argue with someone who actually has done the work, has 5 degrees, has done all of the things that you're supposed to do.
Right.
I've never been arrested. My father was a cop. My brother is a cop. I'm as good as you can possibly get. I'm married to the same woman. My kids are by the same woman. I don't have any skeletons jumping out of my closet. So when I say things and then you look, you can argue with me. You can argue on Instagram. You can argue on Facebook, but you're not arguing with Forbes. You're not arguing with Huffington Post. You're not arguing with any of those other places that have said everything that I'm saying is true. So at that point, I'm giving you an example of something else to shoot for that does not involve a ball and does not involve a beat. And with that, I get people who are saying, you changed the course of my son's life. He wants to study entrepreneurship. He's asking me money to buy books that you have. Like, thank you so much. I could not reach him, but you could. And so I find like-minded individuals who want to help join me, and we break entitlement wherever we see it, because you can have whatever you want as long as you're willing to work for it, and work doesn't mean that you have to break your back. I'm 42 years old. Do you see a vein?
I don't.
I rest my case. I don't believe in hard work. I believe in smart work.
Okay, let me turn your hands around. Okay. Oh, they're nice and smooth.
David Anderson has empowered over 1 million people from the stage.
Yes.
Generated over $54 million for his clients.
Nice.
A multi-time best-selling author, business coach, motivational speaker, y'all. This man is the business bully, y'all.
I want that
David
book.
Anderson.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Pick up that book, y'all. Pitch, close, upsell, repeat. Tell me where we can find you.
You can find me everywhere on Instagram. I'm at The Business Bully. Everywhere else, Facebook, everything like that is The Business Bully. But before I go, I got to plug this. FreeGameAlert.com. The reason I do this, every single day I'll get on Instagram, I'll get on Facebook, and I will talk about business, and I will talk about tips, and I will give people every single question answered automatically. So what I did was, because when you look at these other coaches, they'll give you the sizzle, but they won't give you the steak. A candle loses nothing by lighting another one. So in about 20 minutes, I tell people everything they could ever possibly want to know to go from zero to self-fulfilled entrepreneur. And I don't charge a dime for it. There's no fluff. There's no call to action. There's nothing for sale. Just go to freegamealert.com and check out that information for yourself. Now, if you decide that you want to invest with me later, well, then that's a conversation, and we have financing for that. But
financing.
I mean, you'll finance an Acura, you'll finance
Payment
an
plans.
education.
That's
Absolutely.
right. That's right. All right.
You know, but I mean, I would rather spend $15,000 to make $1 million than spend $100,000 to be sitting on my couch saying I can't get a good job, but I got all these degrees.
There's your free game alert, y'all. The business bully David Anderson.
I need that book.
I'm going to get you the book.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.